Really thank you for your attendance and your participation over the course of the past couple days. Hopefully it's been valuable. Hopefully this session today is going to continue to adding to that value. So what are we talking about today? A phrase that hopefully you've heard by now, new UI for AI. Raise your hand. We've heard that yet this week? Mission accomplished. We've got the t-shirt. Anyway, not only that, we've got a swag with it on it. Yeah, so the idea here is we've got this concept of the new UI for AI. We're talking about it a lot. And here we wanted to make it land. We wanted to make it stick with some real concepts from a product perspective. Hopefully you leave for the next hour having a much better sense and a deeper sense of what we mean when we talk about that with a product lens to it. And who are we? So, Kevin Sherman, I am one of the product marketing and strategy leaders from M365 Copilot. Been working on this side of things, on Copilot specifically, since about December of 2022, which is at the very beginning of the Copilot days. I say that because some of the things we're talking about today have gotten me more excited than anything in the past couple of years, than anything since we've launched this. So really excited to be bringing it to you. For talking to customers about it, talking to partners about people in press, things like that. And we think it's a line we're talking about is going to be a fundamental shift in how we think about AI workplace. Quick thing to add to an introduction. I always like to talk to people when I first meet them about the first job they ever had. I think it tells you nothing about who they are as a person, but it gives you fun little stories and a peek into their insight. So, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. My first job, I was washing dishes at Skyline Chili. Anyone ever been to Skyline Chili? Vacant, there you go. Highly recommend it. Do not recommend washing dishes there. It's one of the worst places to wash dishes. I lasted 3 months. And that's it for me. And Matt, let you introduce yourself.
Yeah. Copos, Matt Akers, group product manager, working on Copilot and lots of other things at Microsoft. I've been Microsoft a very long time. I didn't start washing chili bowls. I started working on a product called Zune. Yes, Zune, that was my first gig. Yeah, see, it was a bit time, right? And so had a, really fun time at Microsoft all these years. Xbox, Windows, was in Bing for a while as well. Worked on enterprise search for about the last 8 years. And then the last couple of years, the team has been focusing a little bit more on the Copilot space and bringing Copilot to everyone. So Copilot for all and a related experience you might use. I've been driving for some time, but I am pretty excited to do a little sneak peek of what we're going to do to reinvigorate search as well. So that's our stuff going to there. Just happy to be here with you all, so thanks for the time.
So M365 Copilot, no surprise as we're talking about here. The way that we're talking on us 45, 50 minutes or so, we're going to start high level and give you a sense, or I'll give you a sense of how I think about Copilot, how I think about its reason for being, really to give you a frame for you to take home with you so you can slot all of the news and features and different items into a frame. From there, we'll talk a little bit more deeper about a couple products. We'll give you an overview of the new app, which hopefully you've already seen this week. We'll talk a little bit about chat and the core chat capabilities, but then we'll use that as a function of then getting into the new things that we've built, like researcher agent, an analyst agent. And then ultimately, Matt will spend about 25 minutes or so talking about Copilot Search, which we are super excited, especially for this audience. But I think get what's happening there to go a little bit deeper and get what we think about the Copilot Search landscape. So high level, I'm going to do another polling of the audience. Has anyone seen this slide this week? At least forget use out of it. The reason I like doing this is we talk about Copilot a lot of different ways. And I talk to customers a lot, and I get the sense that we have sometimes confused the situation because we talk around in so many different ways. I think it earned a chuckle. When I talk to customers, the way I will start every single conversation with this slide, and this is because this matches my mental model of how I think about Copilot. So on the left, you see the Copilot icon. Copilot, as we know, is a feature-rich product that is horizontal in nature. I often say it can do about 80% of the things that maybe 95% of college workers want to do. It's horizontal by design. It's generally acceptable for how you work, or for how it works. Or for the rating of agents. And we know the horizontal solutions are good, but there are processes, there are functions, there are sub-functions, there are areas of expertise and different ways of working that aren't best served from a general Otis product. So great, that's what agents are for. Agents are the vertical side of things. So you get this horizontal with Copilot, you get the vertical agents, which feels good until you realize that every worker has a ton of processes and sub-processes and needs for expertise, which could lead to a world where you've got tens or more than tens of agents doing all of the different things we do every day. So back to the UI for AI concept, Copilot is there to link us up to those agents. It is the interface, it is the UI for AI, so that I don't have to go out to 15 different places to find the agents I'm looking for, but instead it's the connective tissue into those agents. And then we see Copilot Studio to the right, because our belief is still every user should be able to create agents for their own personal processes. We're agent builder inside Copilot Chat. And at the same time, for the more professional developers and people who have IT roles, we want to empower them to create more complex agents for the organization. That's the focus that Copilot Studio capability. Underlying all of that, Copilot control system, we launched Copilot, super excited about the capabilities, but did not want to launch it and also say, hey, now you've got to kind of give up some of the things that you trust in Microsoft for. Instead, it was the opposite. We want to be able to make sure that Copilot is still giving you the same trusted commitments that would always make the 365, and the Copilot control system is what powers that. So from there, I also like to talk about this a little bit. And this, hopefully you can see it, but I'll read through it for those that can't. This is how we think about what differentiates Microsoft 365 Copilot. The reason I like this is not just because it's self-serving and celebrating us, but because it gives you a good sense of why we think we're different. And if you get a sense of why we think we're different, then you get a good sense of where we might be heading next. Because from a strategist standpoint, we want to prioritize those differences. We want to build off of those and develop off of those differences. So with that in mind, quickly talking through these, the first one is a personalized AI-first productivity app. The app itself is really, really, really incredible. We will talk a little bit more about it, but what it means is even more important. We started this journey by launching Copilot in the apps you know, love, and use every day, where you saw PowerPoint Outlook. We also launched it with one net new way of working, which was time of business chat. Now it's Copilot Chat. As we progressed, we've said, there's so many different tools and capabilities that we can build in the name of Copilot, in the name of AI. The app is that home. So now we've got two fundamentally different ways of working. We've got the legacy ways of working that aren't going anywhere. We're continuing to build there in the apps, in the core apps, where it's PowerPoint Outlook Teams. And then we've got this new Copilot app, which is the new ways of working. It's the home for all of those new AI-powered workflows. So that's number one. Number two is, like I said, the apps you use every day. Those aren't going anywhere. People have been using Word and Excel for decades. And that's great, because for us, that doesn't just bring generative AI to those prompt apps for the sake of doing it. It also gives users a really good way to start bringing AI into their work. Because the reality is, for any human, adapting AI into their life is hard because we gotta know how it works, where to use it, etc. Bringing it to your workplace is even harder. But then creating all net new ways of working and using AI is even harder, so it's great. We don't want to pull people out of Word or out of Excel. We want to give them other options if they don't want to use them, but there's still core ways that people work. Let's bring Copilot into it to bridge the gap to make it easier to start adopting AI. That's number two. Number three is search. Matt's going to talk a lot more about that, so I say that conversation will go later. Four is advanced reasoning work agents. Really excited about these. I will talk more about that, so I'm going to bring on that for a minute. Fifth, you've talked about this a little bit, but a platform for agents from a studio. We can do many sessions about that. And sixth, Copilot control system. So again, this is how we think about what differentiates us. It's the apps, it's the access to the data that relies those apps, search, advanced reasoning, agents, agent building, and Copilot control system. So with that, we're going to go a layer deeper to talk about the app. So this was the old experience. It was not black or white, but you get the idea. We had a Microsoft 365 app. A couple of months ago, we rebranded that to be the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. A lot of people said that's a weird thing to do because it's the same thing. You just changed the name, you made it all about Copilot, but Copilot doesn't have a strong presence there. Well, the whole idea was we will deliver that strong presence. And that gave us the opportunity to build the new Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So it's accessible in the same ways you've always had access to the Microsoft 365 app. It's on the Windows bar, it's at Microsoft365.com, etc. And like I said before, it is built around these tools that are built for the AI age. Right here, it keeps getting better. And I'm not going to go through each of these points for you individually. If you want to take a photo, by all means do that. We know that Copilot Chat is the core to Copilot. We've invested a lot around and outside of Chat because we think there are other ways to provide value as well. But we still believe our vision is Copilot Chat will be the engine behind a lot of what gets done in Copilot going forward. As a result, kind of massive team focused on nothing but improving the quality, but also expanding the capabilities of Copilot Chat. So for making it faster, to allow you to reason over more data, to allow responses to not just be longer, but more reactive to what you're looking for, we continue investing in making that thing better. And if you haven't used it in a while, by all means, use it today. Use it next week, use it next month. You will see noticeable differences. In the past couple of weeks, I've got multiple unprovoked pings from people I work with saying, opened, it was good, it's now way better. And people are seeing and feeling these differences. So please keep using it. If it's not meeting your expectations, that's what the thumbs down is for. As you've heard 1,000 times in the past 2 years, very reactive responses to what you're calling out about torrent. Last thing I put on chat, that's available on all of these different surfaces. So you've got it in the app, you've got it Teams, you've got it up a left bar, you've got it in Edge. It is there to be used where your users work, and hopefully you find the expansive places where it's available, useful, to make sure you bring it to everything you're doing. So with that, check. We'll talk about the new agents that we talked about a month ago. So raise your hand if you've heard anything on research or an analyst station. Raise your hand if you think you've got a good sense of what they are and how they work. Good. We'll talk about it. So quick story of where they came from. Last fall, OpenAI changed the game in LLMs a little bit when they introduced this concept of advanced reasoning. Took LLMs from a quick kind of instinctual response game where I send a query to a large language model, it gives its best instinctual response. And they upped the game. They said, what if we add this thing called chain of thought logic, where the whole LLM will think before it responds. It will come up with a way of processing a question before it gives you an answer. And that was great. And that's OpenAI 01 and 03 that fundamentally changed the way that we think about capabilities of LLMs. Then the market, including OpenAI and Microsoft, started saying, what if we don't stop there? But what if we also post-train these advanced reasoning models to make them really good at specific tasks? So they introduced deep research, which was post-trained to be really good at research, the kinds of things a PhD level researcher could do. They said, hey, 03, why don't we add that content to the stuff that you already know and make you a really good agent that can do a lot of work when it comes to research. They then gave an additional skill of web browsing and web access. So it can now call the internet and pull in information from different websites to accompany that research. We said, that's awesome. And if you use it, it's magical. But we said, at work, web data is important. But you've got all of this other data that we know and love, we've been using in Copilot Chat every day, which is your work data. And it's the core graph data. It's the work, email, and chats, and meeting transfers, and documents, and files, and SharePoint sites that we're used to. It's also third-party data that hopefully you all in your organizations are bringing into the graph through connectors. So now when we've got that core work data and the third party from Microsoft's perspective data all pulled together and indexed together into the graph, we can tell researcher, hey, use that same deep research engine, but don't limit yourself to web data. Also, look at the work data. The response from that has been truly incredible. I use it myself. It has changed, like I said earlier, it has changed the way that I've thought about what's possible with LLMs and Gen AI in the workplace. Because it can so effectively reason over so much data and not just do a traditional RAG search-based response, which is good for many use cases, but it does a lot of iterative and recursive thinking and logic, and it adjusts hypothesis in real time. It goes back and there's more information. And it takes time, but it takes time because it's truly understanding how I work in order to provide me the best answer it can. So I'll show you a little bit more about the product in a second, but super excited about the capabilities there. Analysts, in a similar context, we've taken a deeper advanced reasoning model, but this is what we post-trained ourselves. We said, we've got a good sense of how data analysis happens in the workplace. Let's take that knowledge and build it into that LLM and build a net new model that is taking advanced reasoning and be post-trained for doing good data analysis. And we've given it a new skill. So researchers' new skill is accessing work data, analysts' new skill is accessing Python. So every progressive step that analyst is doing is reaching to his toolbox of Python to analyze the data and just go through to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. I'll show you an example of that as well. But what that means is everyone in your organization now has very easy access to use Python-supported advanced analysis logic in doing anything that they want to do. But lastly, on the bottom right, and if I don't want to forget this, with these two agents, we introduced a new type of preview program that we're calling Frontier. So the whole concept behind Frontier is we're going to make sure that we're getting product in the hands of customers in their end environments as brilliant as possible. It fits into the same preview terms that we've already got online that are applying to all of the different previews we had at M365. But we're not making the same commitments as far as what will happen with these products and these Frontier features in the long. So the features you'll see as part of Frontier might change or might not actually ship. You think these two will? Question I'm getting asked a ton is, when do I get access to these things? It says May 2025. In the next couple weeks, anyone who is licensed for Microsoft 365 Copilot will be able to access these two features. Anyone who is licensed for Copilot will be able to access these two agents. There will be some prerequisites on the admin side, so you'll have to be able to use agents and make sure that the agents are turned on in your organization. You also make sure that web search is turned on, so we'll get that information. And you'll have to make sure that these agents are available in the agent store. So if you've made any changes to your agent store, these won't be available to use by default. You need to go and make that slight change, and then tell any user, go out and search for researcher or search for analyst in the agent store. They'll have it. They can put it in their Copilot chat. They can pin it and use it. We are finding, we've got a handful of customers that are already using it. It is changing the way they think about this, and it is changing the way that we think about it. So use it, find out where it works, find out where it does work, let us know, we'll continue that journey together. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about search. Anybody recognize this young gent? Mr. Bill. Funny enough, Bill's still pretty involved in the company. In fact, he's pretty notorious, at least back in these days. He'd send, these late night emails that would end up on some poor person's desk like me to go build something that he had an idea on it. One day he sent an email like this, and it did end up on my desk. I said, well, it's ironic, but big and its competitors can find anything in the world, but finding it at the workplace remains the challenge. I was back in 2016. Little fun story for you all. I work on a project called Microsoft Search and Bing for a long time, or Bing at work as we refer to it internally. Love that product. It was my baby, but it was actually born for this, believe it or not, because what we realized was it was still undefined in the workplace, even though we've done a bunch of great work in enterprise search, and we needed to have something that was kind of in the user's flow, right? That helped them just, hey, I'm in Edge or I'm in my browser, I just want to get to that thing. And that's where it was born. And then it's, of course, evolved, from there. But what's funny is, you fast forward, to now, and finding's still hard. It's still hard to find stuff. And search still is a huge user job to be done. And in fact, over the last, year or so, we've seen there a lot of prompts that go into Copilot chat. In fact, over 25% of them have finding in nature. Right? Somebody's just trying to find that deck that Kevin shared with me last week, or find that page, or what was that meeting. It's all a part of that. There are a huge portion of it. Still, people are just trying to find stuff. We also see that people are, in a lot of cases, using, pretty short prompts. Because why? Well, because that's what they're used to, right? They know how that thing works. They're familiar with it. And they still, are just trying to find those things. But what you need, and what we all want, is to be able to find all of that across all the corpus of data in your organization. When you set up a graph connector, it can't just work well with first party, it's work both with third-party data as well. And so we wanted to come up with something where we could actually fulfill that user job to be done in a really loud chat, and to do all the cool stuff that Kevin was showing you, right? A lot of people are still in this mode of, let me just go try this one thing, or let me go find that thing, and then they're not. They actually don't even get to take that next cool step to say, hey, what can this thing really unlock? So the idea was, hey, we can really take the M365 Copilot app that we built, help solve the search job to be done, and get that to quick, easy, simpler, relevant results. Then unlock and allow users to really find the value. But now we got something. And this is where we introduced the Microsoft 365 Copilot Search. So I'm pretty excited. As again, I mentioned to you that we're in enterprise search for about, 8 years. This is the one I always wanted to build, okay? This is the one you've always wanted us to build, and we're finally making it happen. Let me show you how we kind of got inspired by this. So you got inspired by competition too, because our competitors weren't just focusing on a chat experience or an AI experience. They also layering in search. And why? Because again, it's got to be that job to be done. But what we wanted to create was something leveraging the technologies that we built for Copilot Chat. So what's interesting, underneath the covers of chat is search, right? A lot of those core components that we built over the years in enterprise search, it's actually being leveraged underneath. And what we did though is we built the group on top, and then we put natural language on top of it. Then you started to see some magic happen, right? And what we want to do is take that technology we built, leverage it here, but create a common and really familiar search experience on top of it. But it's got to have these 4 fillers, right?
it's got to be super fast. Because look, if you've got time and you've got, a few seconds to spend, you can go find that thing in chat, that's fine. But what if you want that lightning quick subset and answer with the thing exists, it's there. But you just want to get it quickly. So it's got to be super fast. And I'll be honest with you, I've worked in enterprise search for a long time, and I'll be honest, we never quite got the performance where I wanted it to be. We're getting there now with this thing. Next, it's got to be relevant. I mean, if you've been in the search game at all, the relevance is key. Without it, none of it matters. If you can't find that answer, which is, it's not, you're not going to come back, actually. It's what's going to happen. That's what we see. So it has to be relevant. Relevance is key in this game. But we also have to have a simple user experience wrapped up too, right? This thing needs to just get out of the way. One, create this search engine results page, present it to the user, make it easy to see it, make it easy to go find the thing. If they know it's in service now, put it front and center. Don't bury it behind a vertical we got to go find. Don't make you go do a whole bunch of work to create a custom vertical and then have people hopefully click that thing. No, put it right there with the icon. Looks familiar, and recognizable to them. We're doing that too. And then finally, it's got to be complete. And what I mean by complete is that it has to hit the entire corpus of data in your organization. Always. And it can't just be the thing I said, well, if somebody knows what it is, they go cook ServiceNow and get it. It actually needs to be a truly universal search experience with both Microsoft data and third-party data interleaved, cross-ranked in the same experience with email, chat, meetings, all that stuff. We just simply never got there before, but we're getting there now, and I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, underpinnings of it all, we also want to make sure it's tied in really well with Copilot. So again, I talk about the jobs to be done, right? Search, find it fast, get it done. But we want to have really smart handoffs to Copilot. So you might start in search, but then we have a really graceful way to pull you into chat, continue that conversation and you deeper if you'd like. And the other way around too. If you have, while looking at starting a chat test and want to find something quick, we can hopefully do that. So we're going to do a bunch of experimenting there. This is a pretty nascent stuff, right? Nobody's, I think, figured this out. So you're going to see us play around a little bit. I'll show you what it's a little if I care in a second. Of course, personalize the user and the tenant, the Microsoft Graph, but that's one of the most powerful things that we have, this ability to connect all these different sources together, to connect you with your data and your time and presence and place, to tie all that together. One, that's what ours a ton of that relevance, but it's also going to help users unlock a little bit more value behind the data that they're finding when we present it to them in search. And of course, we're going to give you what you expect from Microsoft, right? Best-in-class security, privacy, compliance you come to know, and respect from us, and we're going to do all of that. Okay, so instead of listening to me talk more than me trying to hide my old Southern drawl, let me show you a video about what we're at.
We're building a more connected, intelligent way to search across Microsoft 365 and beyond. The new Search Home brings your work into sharper focus, with personalized contextual suggestions from documents, conversations, and first and third-party apps. Search results are becoming richer and more useful. The results page offers everything you expect from workplace search, plus new entities like meetings, file attachments, and code. See all results and data sources at a glance, and filter results by person, content type, and time range. AI-powered views will summarize, answer questions, and preview key content, from slides to spreadsheets. We're also bringing in the context that's often missed, like comments, tasks, related work, and decisions. All in one universal intelligent view, with the option to dig deeper via chat. With deeper integration into Microsoft Edge, Copilot Search brings people and expertise closer to your workflow. Discover colleagues based on their skills, roles, or focus areas. When you search using natural language, Copilot will respond more naturally too. And you can easily shift between searching and chatting depending on what the moment calls for. Everything we're building is designed to work across desktop, mobile, and Microsoft 365 apps, woven into how and where people already get things done. Copilot Search brings together what you need to find, learn, and move forward. It's search built for the era of AI.
See, I told you to circulate as well. This is yeah. This is what you have been asking me for years. We're doing it. Okay. Again, I'm going to donate a little bit on jobs to be done. As people say, when do I use search? When do I use chat? And so let's just talk, and agents for that matter. Now, I will tell you that the way I think about it, the way the team thinks about it, we position this is to say, look, trying to get what you need quickly, you know where that thing is, we got you in search, right? We're going to hit that 99% of the time. Get it done quick, you're in, you're out, you got it. Core chat, get those deeper answers, dig a little bit deeper, again, do all the cool things that Kevin was showing us earlier, and really, again, because the search job to be done could be done here, right next to chat. You can now pull out chat to really flourish and dig deeper. And of course, for customized workflows and even deeper thinking, then you got agents. So now I think you're all starting to see it come together, right? This is why we go WhatsApp. This is why we're making these changes, because now this is the place you can start your job. This is where you can start your work. You don't actually have to go think about the workload, about the T's and those other things. You kind of got a one-stop shop now. We've actually finally built it in a simple, easy URL that you could tell your people to go, not 28,000 places. You could just go to this thing. You get it done, because I did SO feedback. You could give me too. Bad, you would go find workplace search of like 28,000 places. I'm like, well, now just go here. Tell people to start here. And I can tell you that that's something that's happening for me now. And internally, so you're using this. I used to go search for, if I wanted to email, of course I go to Outlook. That would just kind of my actual way to think about it. I actually would start to search for people there too, or in teams I want a meeting. But what if I have all this in one place? I actually don't have to go to that work, but I don't have to leave here. And then if you start to tie in all the stuff we're doing, the agents and links, chemistry, research, you're like, oh, time, you're going to be able to get the most of your job done right here in the app. And that's pretty exciting stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about kind of how this experience is going to unfold. So you saw a little bit about this. One of the things we're doing is we are going to take the home that you see today and then merge that with search, right? If you heard what Kevin said earlier, is that chat's where we're going to land users. When they open up the app, that's the default landing experience. So if you're landing in chat, then kind of home maybe doesn't make as much sense. So what if we take all that great content that's at home today, you have that in search, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. So hopefully that's a nice, graceful transition for users. They start to get used to them, begin them right next to each other, and I showed you this cool handoffs. We're pretty confident that's all going to work out. But again, you get all your stuff that need to be done here, and we're going to do this in a modern way. You're starting to see a little bit of AI influence in here too with these recommended tiles. A lot of this experience is going to be very coherent across search and chat, so that we can make sure we use have that as well. I mentioned this, I think, earlier, but it is included with the Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So Copilot Search is included with the license that you have today. Classic Search continues on, for users. And again, one thing I wanted to own in on for folks, the work you've done to administer, Microsoft Search or Classic Search, as I'm referring to it here, all accrue value to Copilot Search. Don't have to go through and read your bookmarks or your acronyms or your graph connectors. It all just comes along for the ride. It's already configured. It's ready to go. And I can tell you, we started deploying this in Microsoft. Our IT admins and search admins were pretty pumped about that, because they're like, oh, dude, I got to go redo my Testopolo. No. We got it. It's all here because it's the same people's about that, about this, which is great. Turns out we're talking to each other. Let's talk about the universal search. This is I don't know. This is the thing that gets me more pumped than anything else, is we actually got a universal search path, folks. One that cuts across first and third party data equally. Let me be honest with you, we never quite got it right third party data in search. I don't think we ever really got it where we want it to be. In fact, we were good first party data. Our Microsoft data, we had a lot of signal behind it, right? We had semantic indexing. You do some really interesting stuff there. But, third party was kind of tapped out, right? I mean, that's kind of how I felt today. This thing, it's real. This is actual first and third party data, interleave, cross-rank in the same search experience, along with emails, chats, meetings. We never had those either, by the way. We never had chats. So all of this coming together, literally a truly universal search. By the way, you may not be able to tell. Inside of there is actually a screenshot I took from my own desktop. That's just not a pretty design comp. That's actually real. So I'm not as brave of you to demo live, but I am brave enough to show you, some real data there. And it's, it's an Octopus and BitLocker. But in any case, like these sources, those are connectors in Microsoft that were set up. And they just lit all over to go with this thing. Because again, once you configured it, it's ready to go. That's real stuff. Go click those and I could dig in deeper if I want. So universal search, awesome. You know what's even harder to do? Do all that ranking and make it fast. We're on that too. We ain't very ETF. So speaking of fast and familiar, hey, stuff that just works still works. Sometimes you just want to throw in a couple of keywords and find the right
thing, find the authoritative source. That's why we can go to that concept of bookmarks years ago. You say, look, this is the thing I want my folks to find in my word when they type these words. Still works, but still here. So all those kind of familiar paradigms and authoritative sources still here for you to work with. Any portion you continue to dig deeper, if you wish as well. One of the things that, we find is probably one of the most prominent use cases is people search, right? Let's turn from the people. What folks will always ask us for is, I just want to do expert search. I really just want to dig deep around a person's content and search around them, because I may not remember what it was or where it was, but I oftentimes remember who it was, and I want to dig deeper around. So we call that idea around people-centric search. What thing really unlocked for us when we started building Copilot was the graph connections became even stronger. And the ability to go find that data around a person, that corpus of it just only increased. And so it actually unlocks some potential here that we haven't really had in the past. So one of the things you're seeing here, and you noticed this before, I'll kind of harken back to it in that video, I'm actually going to have this natively built in the Edge address bar. So I can just literally start typing someone's name. They will pop. That actually works today. You've probably seen it. Go try it out. But it will lead you here, and I can dive right into both Ashley themselves. We'll have the people card show up there. That's the familiar people card you see all across Microsoft experiences. But now I can start to dig in around it. So not only is it Ashley's content, but check this out. Now I can actually filter down in these data sources, right? So here I'm looking at Ashley, but only stuff in Azure DevBus. That's pretty cool, right? So you can start to kind of do this KQL type thing, but with the UI, which is super nice. Because not everybody understands, like app call and do NSRE, and then not everybody gets it. But when it's visually presented to you, super easy just to say, by Ashley, what header DevOps, boom, creates that query, filters the search down to those results. That's pretty powerful stuff. Simple, but super powerful. And pretty exciting things you got boom there. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more into some of the AI integrations. I think you saw some of this in the video, but one of the things that the underlying tech that we built for semantic indexing, both on a personal and tenant level, that powers a lot of chat stuff, actually works pretty darn well here when it comes to relevance and using natural language to find the thing that you're looking for. And this gave us this opportunity to say, well, hey, why don't we actually just tie the Copilot answer in there, run a Procreate. Now, this is going to be something I'll tell you that the relevance on this will be taught, right? But the reason why we're starting with this kind of smaller piece of UI is, one, I don't want to get in the way. Like if you're still trying to get to the SERP, we're going to let the SERP shine, right? That's what we've got to do. Well, you have this kind of integration here where we could say, actually, you've got deeper knowledge for you that maybe you weren't aware of. Well, you can have it, and you can expand that, right? And so that this expands a lot, which is nice. You start to see that actual answer. Now, what's really cool here is I could continue that conversation. This is the first, you saw the video, but this is the kind of first idea of, hey, well, I'm in search, but maybe I want to create an on-ramp in the chat. Maybe I want to continue the conversation there. So that's exactly what happens. And again, since they're neighbors over here in the information architecture and the nav pane off to the left here, it just dropped me right down into chat, right? So, hey, look, let's continue the conversation here. All that context comes with it. Start over. You have to go, redo your prompt to your query. But then what's great is a lot of the cool chat stuff will start to kick in, like helping you elaborate your prompt or helping you understand what the next one might be, right? So again, even no matter what your job to be done is or where you start, we can help you get that answer. We can help you find what you need. And the hope is, again, a lot of people are familiar with search and not so familiar with chat. And so this idea too, to help people bring them into chat and give them a natural feeling way that makes them feel a bit more comfortable and confident around using it. We hope that it'll create a rising tide of this, all the boats. But again, want to make sure it's super simple, easy to use. It's really what we're after with this as well. But that's pretty cool too. So I'm pretty pumped about this one. And this one's working as well, and it's actually pretty game changing for me. Okay, so this is really cool. We kind of just barely touched on this in the video. I saw a demo from the team this last week, and it's actually turned out to be pretty cool. Okay, this scenario. Got a bunch of results. Even if you do a really good job making it relevant and awesome, there's 28 files, but the same similar name, and you're not quite sure which that one is, right? It's Matt and Kevin's presentation, final file V1, V2, D3, you know what it is. You've been there. I know it. Hi guys, and I was like, yeah, I know, Harry, what if I had a really good way to say, is this the thing? Right? And dig a little bit deeper into that content. And then again, leverage the large language model and bring that in here. So when I click on a result, search, or click on details, we get this AI view. And what it can do is start summarizing the document right then and there, right? That's pretty awesome too. So I actually get that summary, can figure out what this thing's about. I can preview it. You saw that in the video. Like if it's a PowerPoint deck, I might be able to flick through that, which is kind of nice to actually see, is it the one where I added my notes? We literally just did this morning. Either do the other version of the deck. Oh, that's the comment and say that's right. This could have done it for me. Would be pretty awesome. But then if you look too, you're seeing some really cool stuff, come in from the graph, right? So this is created by Olivia, it was modified by this person, it's been shared with these people left comments, you could see how many people read it, how many people shared it, and that's pretty awesome. You scroll up, which is not going to scroll up because it's a static comp, but then you can see the other related resources around it. So there is some related documents and things here too. So this is pretty sweet. And again, I'll be honest with you, as we were building it, I was a little worried that it wasn't going to be fast enough to do that thing that I want to record. I said, oh, is this slow? It is actually pretty darn fast because we can calculate a bunch of this asynchronously in the background, so it's ready to go when you click that details button. Pretty cool. You saw this in the video, but there's also the on-ramp to Copilot here too, where I can ask maybe a little bit more question, go a little bit deeper on this thing, right? And dig in and start to actually kind of have a conversation with the content, right? That's kind of abstract, but it's pretty cool when you start to think about how powerful that is. And again, here's the thing. I think we all know that that's possible, at least you all know that that's possible, but not everybody knows that's possible. But when you start to combine these things together, just show it to the user and say, look, you could actually do this here. You can start to talk and converse with your content and learn more. That's pretty powerful. It just simply putting it in front of them in that way, feels pretty magic over time. So this one I'm pretty excited about as well. Next up, one of the things, again, I'm trying to be as humble as I can because I've been in this game a bit, and I know we've had asked and say, oh, you guys always forget about mobile, man. This stuff's going to be really handy on mobile. We're not forgetting about it. We're doing it from the beginning. What's funny is I tell the team, I say a lot of the folks who have been working in this space have been working on it a long time, and I'm like, hey, let's do this. Can you please leave your baggage at the door, but take your learnings with you? Let's do that, okay? So that's what we're trying to do. Take the learnings with us, and everything you saw that I just showed you is going to have a coherent and complementary experience on mobile as well. That, I think, will be super powerful both for time, right? When you're sitting on the couch, you're like, oh, where's that doc, or what's this thing, or what's the vacation policy, whatever. I don't have to get out my laptop and dig, kind of fumble around with it, or get sucked back into work. If you read, that's generally the thing I'm trying to convert, which is I open the laptop, skim them over. We don't have to do that. It's all in mobile device, right? You can get back looking easy. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, a couple other things we'll hit here. As I mentioned, a lot of what makes this amazing is not just the Microsoft data, but all of the data in your organization. And one of the things, we really, when we started looking at this, apart from the relevance, apart from speed, was ensuring that not only was first and third party data on equal footing, but that it's super simple to set this stuff up. I've heard the feedback. It's hard to set up graph connectors. These things, it's a little bit kludgy. It's some of the things like ServiceNow just don't work the way you want. So the team really dug in and said, okay, number one, we're going to expand our out-of-box connector catalog far greater than it was in the past. The expectation that I have on the team right now is that by the end of Q3, we go over 100 out-of-box connectors that are competitive with folks that you might either be assessing or familiar with. So that's pretty awesome, number one. I'd also give you an example of, how to build things and make things easier. A lot of us, literally, is one step. Like one, because that's not the two. Your setup is a breeze. It's just got to be easy. It's clunky today. We're solving that. We're going to make it super easy. Now, both for out and aux stop or unstructured data, your stop, we're just going to make it easier to set that stuff up. We get it. Because again, all that cool experience I showed you really shines when all of the data is there. So I just want to make it easy for y'all to get all of that data in front of the user. And of course, one of the things to keep in mind is that, these graph connectors and this data you pull in works across search and chat. So the full researcher thing, that agent that Kevin showed you, that's all there, and you get to use that. Set it up once, use it across all areas. And so I hope you start to see now, like that's all sort of really finally come together. The way it would be for everybody's back there. So again, just kind of recapping. Honestly, we're just trying to build that search you'd always wanted. And I think we're finally doing it, and I'm pretty pumped about it. Bringing something you all that's fast, relevant, simple, and complete. Feel free to make t-shirts, take a picture, however you do it. I'm trying to get shirts made for all of us. So when you're like, dude, this is pretty cool. Where can I have it? I'm surprised. So right now we're building it. Like I said, you saw some screenshots of the real thing. That's pretty cool. Literally talked to the team this morning. and we're going to open up private preview this month. So that's pretty cool. Not going to make you wait bullet time for this thing. Yes, that's pretty awesome. And then we're going to rapidly get to GA as fast as we can. It's all going to be quality based. You have to keep in mind, like a lot of us, as I mentioned, it's relevance is key to this, but we need your feedback. So when y'all get in this preview, just liberally send feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If it's good, great, tell us. If it's bad, please tell us that, because we will pay attention to all that. As Kevin mentioned in chat, the team religiously was at that stop. We look at your feedback and we act up front. And the only way that I can make search great is if you all give the feedback and tell us what's working and tell us where isn't. So it's going to be super key to do that. But again, a lot of these dates, I want to be quality driven. I'll put them here and we'll get you in a private preview as soon as I can. But when we go public, when we go GA, I want that to be high quality. Okay, couple of things. There you are, hype person. That's kind of needed. All right. Okay, couple things, and this is a mix of me and Kevin, so all this, I can go on this one too if you want a little bit. One of the things you might not realize is everything I showed, everything that Kevin showed as well, is all in the M365 desktop app that's been revamped recently. It's the super easy way just to get your organization going. It's kind of set the task bar, right? Or have done do it. I know sometimes that's well, can you get that done in Windows? I work with group policy myself. I know how it is. But it just makes it super easy. Recognizable icon, I click there, right? Humans want the easy button. There it is. Then on the taskbar. Number 2, join the private preview. If you get that QR code, that's actually a direct conduit to be in the team, right? If you want to. So give us a shout. Now, if you're in the AIX 100, you're automatically going to get private preview. You don't have to do anything. It will just light up for you. Surf will just be there. So AIX 100, you're in. If you want to get in early, send me a note. We'll make it work. As this man will tell you, I'm really bad at LinkedIn, so even if you captured that earlier, I probably won't respond. I will connect because I'm bad. I'm trying to get better. At least I'm self-aware, I guess. But in any case, I get you a direct conduit to the team. As Kevin mentioned, the researcher and analyst agents are actually coming soon. And so if you're via the Frontier program, it's going to be May. But again, all this, the license. So that's that. Do we got anything else, or they get to clap now? I think that's, y'all get to clap now. Let's go. All right, so it's good, cool stuff here, and I think that this content is actually published. So I know you're taking some pictures too, but I do think it's available to you. At least they made me get them the PDF of it. So and then I changed a whole bunch of things because that's what you do. So a bunch of great resources here in the community content. Okay, yeah, give us good feedback, about this. Say, yeah, they were pretty good. That guy was weird, but he likes search, and I do too. So I'm giving the thumbs up. That's cool. But hey, here's the thing. We just really appreciate y'all. One, giving the feedback. Your time here and everything, you are helping shape these products. I want you to understand that. I know sometimes, and again, you've heard me say it a few times, you get a thumbs up, a thumbs down in a product, you think, oh, that goes into something I call the way it looks at it. It's not true. Like, we actually care. This is the only way we're going to move 6. Here's the thing. I got to be humble to tell you that nobody quite knows how to do this stuff yet. It's all so new. It's all so nascent. So we're all learning together. But the only way we can do that is that we do that together. So please give us the feedback. Please help us make these products the thing that will help you start your day, help you be more productive, and really take your organization, where you want it to be and your own goals as well. So thanks so much. Just appreciate it.